When fitting a linear model, we have seen different kinds and different forms in which we can fit a linear model depending on what kind of variables we are dealing with. But the underlying idea of fitting a linear model is estimating the coefficients involved in the model. In this module, we will look at the algebra behind the least square technique of fitting a linear model, or estimating and also interpreting the coefficients of a linear model. In previous modules, we have seen the use of linear model, and a different type of linear model is regression. We have also seen analysis of variance and analysis of covariance type of linear model. In every different kind of linear model, what we essentially do is we have a data set and we fit this data set using any one of the forms of linear model. And by fitting of the regression model or an ANCOVA model or an ANOVA model, we essentially find the estimate of the coefficients with respect to which we write the linear model. In this module, we are going to discuss the algebra behind the different types of estimation. Specifically, we will look at the least square type of estimation of the coefficients of a regression model or any other form of linear model. So the method of least square is a standard approach in regression analysis to the approximate solution of overdetermined systems. That is, sets of equations in which there are more equations than unknowns. So least square means that the overall solution minimizes the sum of square of error made in the results of every single equation. So let us look at the regression equation. In case of a simple linear regression, we write the regression model in the form of y equals alpha 0 plus alpha 1 x plus the error term. In case of the equation of a straight line, we write the equation as y equals mx plus c, where m is the slope and c is the intercept. In case of a straight line equation where we expect all the points of the coordinates to fall on the line, we do not have the error component. However, when we fit a regression line to a real life data to explore the association between x and y, we form a regression equation where the regression equation corresponds to a line which is best fitted across the scatter plot of the xy points. So, when estimating the coefficients of a regression model, which is the alpha 0 and the alpha 1, we try to minimize the error component, so that when we have a choice of different linear equations which fit through a scatter plot, we select the one which has the least square sum of errors in the regression model. The most important application of the algebra of least square is in fitting a data. As I've mentioned, when we fit the data, we try to establish an equation, a mathematical equation, which explains the relationship between x and y. So, using the algebra behind least square, we try to fit the data by minimizing the error component. So, the best fit in the least square sense minimizes the sum of squared residuals, a residual being the difference between an observed value and the fitted value provided by a model. So when we fit a regression model and we write the estimated value of y in terms of the estimated value of alpha 0 plus estimated value of alpha 1 times x, plugging in the different values of x, we can estimate the y. And now we look at these estimated values and their difference from the observed values of y. So these differences are called the residuals. So in essence, when fitting a regression model, we fit the one in which the residuals are minimized, or the sum of squares of the residuals are minimized. So when the problem has substantial uncertainty in the independent variable, which is the x variable, then simple regression and least square methods have problems. In such cases, the methodology required for fitting errors in variable model can be considered instead of that for least square. Now let us look at how we estimate the coefficients in a regression model. So here we have written estimating beta. In general, a linear model is written as y equals x beta plus epsilon, where y represents the vector of values of the dependent variable, x represents the vector of values of the independent variable, and beta is the vector of the coefficients using which we write our regression model, and epsilon is the error term. So we will be looking at the method of estimating the betas using the algebra of least square. So we have a regression equation y equals x beta plus epsilon. So what estimate of beta would best separate the systematic component x beta from the random component epsilon? Geometrically speaking, y belongs to the real space of dimension n, while beta belongs to the real space of dimension p, where p is the number of parameters. Now if we include the intercept, then p is the number of predictors plus 1. And the problem here is to find beta such that x beta is as close to y as possible. Or in other words, x beta, which represents the estimated values of y, that is as close to the observed values of y as possible. Now beta hat, if we represent the estimates of the coefficients of regression by beta, then beta hat is in some sense the best estimate of beta within the model space. The response predicted by the model is then written as y hat, which equals x times beta hat instead of x times beta. Or we also write it as h times y, where h is an orthogonal projection matrix. So the difference between the actual response and the predicted response is denoted by epsilon hat, which is termed as the residuals. Now the conceptual purpose of the model is to represent as accurately as possible something complex. Y, which is n-dimensional in terms of something much simpler, the model which is p-dimensional in terms of the coefficients. Thus, if our model is successful, the structure in the data should be captured in those p dimensions, leaving just random variation in the residuals which lie in an n minus p dimensional space. So what in essence we mean is, we have the data which is divided into two parts. One is the systematic or the structured part, and the other is the variation due to the randomness. So this randomness is not something which we can control, so we try to minimize it. And the systematic or the structural part is the part which we can control, so we try to minimize the dimensions and write it in terms of a linear combination of p different coefficients. So we have n dimensions of the data, which equals p dimensions when written in terms of the coefficients beta plus n minus p dimensions, which is attributed to the random component. Now looking at the algebra behind least square estimation, the estimation of beta can be considered from a non-geometric point of view. We might define the best estimate of beta as that which minimizes the sum of squared errors. So in terms of vector notation, we can write it as epsilon prime epsilon. That is to say that the least square estimate of beta, called beta hat, minimizes epsilon prime epsilon, which can also be written as sum over I epsilon I square, which again in case of the regression model y equals x beta plus epsilon can be written as follows when we write epsilon as y minus x beta. So the least square error can be written as y minus x beta prime times y minus x beta. Now if we expand the right hand side of this equation, we get y prime y minus 2 times beta x prime y plus b prime x beta. The general technique of minimizing the least square error is by looking at the above expression, we differentiate it with respect to beta and then we set it to 0. This is a common practice when we find a minimum of any function. So using this technique, we differentiate the above expression and setting it to 0, we find that beta hat should satisfy the following equation, which is x prime x times beta hat equals x prime y. So this above expression, these are called the normal equations, and we can derive the same result using the geometric approach as well. So now provided that x prime x is invertible, we get an estimate of beta in the form of beta hat equals x prime x whole inverse x prime y. Now multiplying both sides of the above equation with x, we get x times beta hat equals x times x prime x whole inverse x prime y. And we write this in the form of h times y, where h equals x times x prime x whole inverse x prime, and h is the projection matrix that we have talked about on a previous slide. So h equals x times x prime x whole inverse x prime is called the hat matrix, or the orthogonal projection of y onto the space spanned by x, or the columns of x. H is useful for theoretical manipulation, but you usually do not compute it explicitly, as it's an n by n matrix and calculating each of its components becomes cumbersome. Now using the h times y representation of the estimated values of y, we get the predicted values as y hat equals h times y equals x times beta hat. The residuals are now can be written in terms of the H matrix. So epsilon hat, which is the estimated residuals, equals y minus x times beta hat equals y minus y hat, which in turn can be written as I minus h whole times y, where I stands for the identity matrix, h stands for the hat matrix. So what we have done in the previous step is, in place of y prime or y hat, we have written h times y. So eventually we get the residuals in the form of I minus h times y. And the residual sum of square, which is epsilon hat prime epsilon hat, that in terms of the hat matrix and the identity matrix can be written as y prime I minus h times I minus h times y equals y prime times I minus h times y. Because the I minus h matrix is idempotent, so the square of the matrix is equals the matrix itself. So the least square estimate is the best possible estimate of beta when the errors epsilon are uncorrelated and have equal variance. That is, variance of epsilon equals sigma square times the identity matrix. And this is evident from one of the previous modules where we had discussed the assumptions of fitting a proper linear model. The assumptions were that we get the estimate of the coefficient beta such that the errors are uncorrelated. So we try to get the errors rid of the autocorrelation, and also we want them to have equal variance, or in other words, we want them to be homoscedastic. But sometimes these assumptions, when they are not followed, we have seen in other modules how we can detect whether there is any deviation from the assumption of autocorrelation and heteroscedasticity, and in case there is, how we can handle or how we can remedy the situation. Now let us look at an example of calculating the estimated values of the coefficient beta hat. Now suppose y equals mu plus epsilon. Here we have the X matrix, or the design matrix as it is sometimes called, equals 1, and the coefficient that we are talking about is beta equals mu. So x prime x happens to be 1 prime 1, which equals n. So 1 happens to be a vector of 1s of dimension n. So beta hat would be x prime x whole inverse x prime y, using the expression that we had derived on a previous slide. This equals 1 over n times 1 prime y. In other words, this is the same as finding the sum of all the y's and dividing by n, which is nothing but the average value of the independent variable or the response variable. So in case of a simple linear regression, when we have one predictor, then yi equals alpha plus beta xi plus epsilon I, which can be written in the vector form as a vector of responses starting from y1, y2, yn. Then we have the X matrix, where the first column is of only ones, which corresponds to the intercept, and the second column corresponds to the values of the X variable or the independent variable. multiplied by the 2 by 1 vector of alpha and beta, which are the coefficients, plus a vector of error terms which is also of dimension n, epsilon y, epsilon 2, epsilon n. So here we have looked at two different examples of calculating beta hat. In the first case, we had no x variables whatsoever. We only had the intercept term mu and the error term. In the second case, we have a simple regression setup with only one predictor. So we have seen how we can write it in the vector form, and when we find the estimate, in this case for the coefficient beta, we can now apply the formula, but a simpler approach can be to rewrite the equation as follows. Let's write yi equals alpha plus beta x plus beta xi minus x bar plus epsilon I. So now you have the x matrix as given by the first column of 1s and the second column is of xi minus x bar. So starting with x1 minus x bar, x2 minus x bar, all the way up to xn minus x bar, which means x prime x equals n 0 and 0 summation I equals 1 to n xi minus x bar whole square. So now we work through the rest of the calculation to reconstruct the familiar estimates, and we know that in case of a simple regression, we have the estimate of beta in the form of r times sy divided by sx, where r is the correlation coefficient. In other words, it can also be written as summation I xi minus x bar times yi divided by summation I xi minus x bar whole square. In higher dimensions, however, it is usually not possible to find such explicit formula for the parameter estimates unless x prime x happens to be in a simpler form. So in that case, we try to use all the algebra behind matrices and vectors to get an estimate expression for beta. Now, why do we find beta hat in terms of the least square estimates, and why is it supposed to be the best possible estimate that you can get for beta? The reasons behind are: it results from an orthogonal projection onto the model space. As we have seen, we write y hat in terms of H, the hat matrix or the orthogonal projection matrix of y onto the space of X. So it makes sense geometrically. As I've mentioned before, the way we have used the algebra behind least square, as we have used algebra behind the least square to get the expressions for the normal equations which helps us estimate the coefficients, we can also prove the same geometrically. If the errors are independent and identically normally distributed, it is the maximum likelihood estimator. So the least square estimate that we get for a simple regression equation is the same as the maximum likelihood estimator that we get when we assume that the errors are independently and identically distributed with a normal distribution. So loosely put, the maximum likelihood estimate is the value of beta that maximizes the probability of the data that was observed and minimizes the error. Also, according to the Gauss-Markov theorem, it states that it is the best linear unbiased estimate for the vector of coefficients of a linear model. So we will end here with the algebra of least square well explained, and we will see that in subsequent modules, whenever we talk about fitting a regression model or fitting an Ankover model, we always use the method of least square, and any software that we use also by default uses this technique to fit the regression model and get the coefficient estimates. So in this module, what we have learned is the age-old technique of using least square method of fitting a linear model, whether in the form of a regression, ANOVA or an Ankover model. What are the algebra that is involved behind estimating the beta coefficients? We have learnt also how we develop the normal equations and using what method we maximize them or minimize the error, and also find the least square estimate for the coefficients, which in some cases are the same as finding the maximum likelihood estimates. We have delved into the details behind the algebra of using the least square technique, and in a different module we will also see how there can be a significant similarity between the least square technique, which can also be shown geometrically.